My name is Kevin Monk. I am a principal of a local private school. And we have a set of questions we'd like to ask you today. And the first one I would like to ask is, basically, Nicole, you've been part of many different community service projects. And some of the ones that we have listed on your bio is the Defeat Cancer Walkathon, Guns N' Hoses, United Way, Zumbathon. Which of these projects do you feel has been the most impactful, and why do you feel that way?
I would say the walkathon, because it's gotten to be such a big event, and I've gotten to raise so much money for families and different organizations also. And it's really come a long way from the beginning, and I would say that.
Thank you.
Nicole, my name is Mr. Brumfield. I'm a local music teacher. We were just wondering, how did you choose the cancer awareness platform for this project?
Yes, so I was affected by cancer when I was in 8th grade. My aunt passed away, and that was kind of like the starting of it all. And I decided that I wanted to focus on colon or cancer in general, not just specifically colon cancer, because longer down in the road, I was affected by my music teacher passing away, and then her daughter being diagnosed with cancer. And my uncle just recently passed away from lung cancer. And so I chose that one because it didn't really just affect me, it had affected everybody in my life. And I don't know one person that cancer hasn't affected. So I chose that just because it was one that I could connect with, and I could easily make other people connect with as well.
Nicole, my name is Gary Weldon, and I've been involved with Triad for quite a while. How do you hope to achieve your platform of cancer awareness? Do you have a goal in mind?
In the long run, I would like to make the local events into statewide and get more communities involved with the program, or not the program, with the events that I hold, and eventually make the statewide events into a national, and just really bring awareness to as many people as possible and show that there are ways to prevent and ways to stop this awful disease.
Hi, Nicole. My name is Kathy Bosgos, and I'm a teacher.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm looking at it, you've raised nearly $25,000 for various causes and organizations. How do you choose your community service projects?
Most recently, I decided that I wanted to not target, but help out families instead of organizations. And I thought that would help myself and the people around me that have, like, having a face to the project or the event. And it's another way for people to connect to it. And it brings everybody in, and it's like, it's an actual thing. It's not just money sitting in an account. It's going to an actual cause and a person, and it'll affect them more.
All right, well, I have another question, Ms. McNerney. I'd be kind of curious how you go about organizing the different projects that you do. What are the logistical things and whatnot that you build in order to hold one of these events?
First off, we start with choosing the event that we want, and then we make tickets and flyers to pass out, and sometimes we contact the local radio stations to see if they'll broadcast it. I talk to organizations that I'm already joined in and see if they'll talk to the people that are also in the organizations. I talk to the school and see if they will reach out to the students and see if they're interested. And sooner or later, it's all falling together, and really advertising is the biggest part, just so people know what the event is about. And having the face to the event really helps, so somebody can connect to the event and has a little tie-in and a little bow.
So, thank you.
I'm looking at your stuff here. It looks like you do a lot of things after school.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, that's great. And now that I was reading here that you were on the billboard, and I think I remember seeing that.
Yes.
Now that you mentioned it, that's very good. Can you share with us which one of your school activities is the most important to you, and how come that is?
I say student council because it involves, I don't know, either student council or Key Club. Student council because I can involve myself in the school, like even with the elementary, and I can connect with all of them and the teachers, and I get to coordinate all these big events and the proms and dances and all of that. But Key Club, I get to put myself out in the community more and less in the school. And I get to help a lot of people. We do help the school sometimes, but putting yourself out in the community can be a big step in a good direction.
Nicole, you stated in your legacy statement that you want to be remembered as Klamath County's outstanding teen who showed Christian character and leadership that reflects awareness. Explain how you would establish this legacy.
Because I've already gotten myself into this program, and this year I decided to focus less on about winning, and it's just, I want the crown. But I focused this year on how it can change myself and who I can be after the year is done. And I think that really helped, and it lost my train of thought. I've gotten to do so much with that, and I think that I can only be an example for other people around me that aren't necessarily involved in everything or don't know what to do with their free time or don't do a lot of service projects. And I think that I can shine a light on everybody for everybody in the community, young or old.
Thank you.
Okay, so Nicole, over the past 4 years, you've worked with your family to build the Joanne Burns Memorial Foundation. Can you tell us just a little bit about that organization and why you've committed your time?
Yes. So my aunt passed away 4 years ago now, and we really wanted to have a fundraising event or an organization where we could just keep her legacy going because we didn't want her to be forgotten in the community. And we made the foundation called Joanne Burns Memorial Foundation, and the idea was to give scholarships to students who have been affected by cancer and are going into the medical field that live in the basin. And we started out with the Guns and Hoses basketball game, which is a charity basketball game between the policemen and the firemen. And all the proceeds from that, we put it into our fund, and at the end of the year, we give scholarships. And so far, we've given, I think $10,000, but I probably am wrong. $10,000 in scholarships, and it brings the community in again, and it really, I guess every service project is bringing the community in, and that's one that really does bring in the firemen and the policemen, and then at the end giving scholarships from all of that to students is good.
Well, building on what you've already shared, I have one of the key questions for our panel in deciding on who we're going to bestow this award on, and that is, we have a lot of very qualified candidates with amazing resumes and bios and everything. Why should you be chosen over one of our other candidates?
I believe that I possess the poise and confidence that I need when I'm talking to big crowds or one person, and I believe that with that I can change even just a minute amount. It could change something in the future that could be huge, and I believe that no matter your choices, because I assume that you guys will make the best choice and the right choice, but with that choice, I believe that I'm the best one because of my poise and confidence and what I've done in the community so far.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your future. It says here that your ambition is to pursue a business management degree at Oregon State. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how do you see yourself using that once you graduate?
I really want to keep working my platform after high school and into college, and maybe eventually after college. And I was thinking, as I said that, that I could really do a lot with my platform and maybe have like a business that raises funds for a local cancer center or a family or anything raising funds for cancer awareness or for funding, and I wanted to keep working that as I kept going in my life. So I wanted to keep working with my platform and see how far I can get with it.
So for you, this isn't just a kind of a temporary cause, you see yourself invested in this for years. Okay, very interesting.
Nicole, you've been a recipient of several awards. Which of these awards is the most meaningful to you and why?
Definitely the 100, and Massachusetts General Hospital chooses 100 various people across the nation, doctors, physicians, 100 people, one of the most amazing people in the nation. And I was very honored to get this award, and I was nominated by some people at the Cancer Center and some people in the school that thought that I was worthy of this award. And they sent it to Massachusetts General Hospital, and I honestly wasn't expecting to get it because it was with so many amazing people. And I received the letter, and I was just brought to tears. It was really surprising, and I would say that was the most meaningful.
Thank you.
So I was reading that you are a two-time winner of the anti-bullying essay contest. Bullying continues to be an issue at schools throughout the nation. And what's the best approach to stopping this epidemic in your opinion?
I think that people tend to say things that they don't mean, or they don't process things before they say them. And I think that if we all just took a step back and realized what we were doing before we did it, and that's probably easier said than done, but if we could all just take a moment and realize before we do, then I think that would make an immense amount of change.
I had a question. I'm a big fan of Camp Ryla, whatever the heck that is. I'm a big fan of Camp Ryla. And from what I understand, you took part in this last year. I'd like to know a little bit more about what the camp actually is and what you took away from it and how you were specifically selected to take part in Camp Ryla.
This was actually one of the best weeks of my life. It was so fun. I was with, RYLA stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Academy, and it's just like a leadership camp, and it was a week long, and I was with 143 other kids that were doing the same thing as me. I've been through the same thing, and it was all about leadership and how you can lead your school or lead your community in different events and different things. And throughout the week we were working on a big project that we presented to Rotarians, and it was we called it the pitch. And it was a project that they would, if they wanted to take back to their community to give and work throughout their community. And throughout the whole week they teach you different styles of leadership, and I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into when I started applying for it. I applied for it, and then I had an interview, and it ended up being a great time, and I'm really glad I did it, and I still talk to some of the people that I went with, and got friendship and a different point of view on a different leadership style.
All right, thank you.
Well, this might be kind of a superfluous question at this point, but maybe you could just tell us why you decided to participate in this competition in the first place. We kind of heard your platform if you are selected, but what brought you to us in the beginning?
It was a weird thing. Somebody came in during lunch and was just like, hey, wondering if anybody wants to do this. I was like, oh, I'll just do it. It seems like fun, and if I don't win, I don't win, and I get experience out of it. And I kind of just did it my first year for the experience. And then after that first year, I really realized that I had grown so much as a person, and I kept doing it. And I think I come back just because I've grown so much, and I've gotten to do so much in the community and so much in the school, and just for people that I didn't even know at the time have affected me immensely, and I couldn't thank them enough.
I think we asked the last question. So I think we can probably give Nicole some critique.
Okay.
Can we go back to being
Yeah,
ourselves?
clear.
Yep, now. Do you want to get a seat so they
I
can?
want to grab you.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my notes.
Perfect, thank you.
One of the suggestions I have for you, between now and then, is practice in front of the mirror,
Okay.
okay? And look yourself in the eye in front of the mirror. Try and maintain eye contact throughout all of your answers,
Okay.
okay? You often go to the floor.
Okay.
So, you know, and you can look straight out in the audience, you know, and people will think you're making eye contact.
Yeah.
Do that. So that gives you a little more confidence. Couple things, try and not use
Yeah, I realized I was saying a lot. I usually
Right.
don't.
And so if you can practice in front of the mirror
Mhm.
and use your phone recorder and record that yourself
Mhm.
and then listen to it. Okay?
Okay.
You'll be your worst critic.
Yeah.
Okay? And you'll hear the things. One of the things, the judges are gonna have all this information,
Mhm.
so you probably need to have it committed to memory,
Mhm.
so that you know all the facts. You know,
Yeah.
say, I think it was 10 or 15.
Yeah.
You need to give definitive answers.
Okay.
Focus more on the what and why of stuff, like when Mr. Monk just asked you about what RILA was.
Mhm.
Focus on the substance of it, more the what and the why, rather than the how and the when.
Okay.
You know, how you benefited from it, how others benefit from it. And the other, hand movement and body movement. It's good that you move from one side of the podium to the other side of the podium and you don't hang on to the podium for dear life, okay? But try to keep your head still
Okay.
and your body still,
Okay.
and, you know, your hands in a nice position.
Mhm.
And people will see that you're confident, okay? This is about you knowing who you are, why you want to do this, and convincing them of that,
Mhm.
okay? Because if you're not convinced of it yourself, you're not going to convince them. Okay? No maybes, okay? Be definite with your answers, okay? Most of the audience doesn't know all of this stuff behind you. The judges should know it. And I think when Mr. Monk asked you the question is, why should you be chosen? Work on that a little bit, a stronger reason,
Okay.
okay? The difference you want to make, okay? I think would be my recommendation, you know, really hammer that through.
Mhm.
You know, it's not necessarily about you being Miss Sunshine or Miss County, but why you want to be that.
Okay.
Okay? And I think one of the questions was asked to you, and you said, that's a good question. Don't do that.
Okay.
That's a critique of the question, and I might throw that, that particular judge may say, "Did you question my question?" And that's all I had.
Okay. Thank you.
Gary covered a lot of the things that I was going to share. At times you were supremely confident and projected a very, you know, strong personality and level of, you know, capability and whatnot. A couple of times, and it was more when you were doing stuff with your hands, it seemed like you weren't quite sure a little bit. So the times when you were strong, you were very strong. And so what he mentioned about rehearsing in front of a mirror, recording yourself and playing it back and listening to it, those are huge things to help you kind of strengthen that. He did mention, I was going to mention, if you're not sure the amount, go back and memorize, because this says $12,000. But if you say, I think it was around 10, then they're going to say, okay, how strong is she in her platform? And so be definite. And it's better, this is one of those cases, even as a Christian, it's better to be wrong and really think you've
Yeah.
got it, and be able to make the correction after that, oh, I'm sorry, it actually was 12,000. Than to sound like you're kind of mealy mouthed and not quite certain. And then there was just one question that I was trying to recall how you had responded. You have a stellar bio, a stellar platform. You're very, very strong in that way. So believe that, know that. And so when you're pitching to a bunch of Fortune 500 CEOs that want to buy your product. They want to completely believe in you and buy into what you're doing. So know that. And then that disarms a lot of the kind of nervousness about it. Just be confident in it. And if you do that, any of the other little things will fall away, and I think you'll do very well.
One thing I forgot to mention, show your dimples.
I put my mark next to several of them. When you're talking about student council and Key Club, you just lit up. You really showed confidence when you liked what you wanted to talk about. That was the part that you could really tell. I noticed it with that. I noticed it with the, when you said definitely the 100, you were very honored. You were smiling, and that dimple was really showing. I noticed this one on this side, 'cause I was over on this side. But, wow, that's awesome. If you could project that kind of confidence, and I mean, I just want to come up and hug you. And if you do that, that's going to be selling it.
Well, and the subtext to that is you were one of the most important 100 people in America. When you said that with such gravity and whatever, I was like, wow, for her to be picked along with 99 other people, she must be really important. That moved you up in my mind in consideration.
Right,
So,
exactly.
like what she said.
And you were proud of it.
Also explain why you were chosen, okay? I'd slip out of, I'm not really honored that I was, but explain why you were chosen.
They recognize me for these reasons.
Yes.
You're not bragging, you're sharing factual information right at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I really saw that, and I saw, sorry, I'm doing the arms now. One of the things, the questions I had was, like the question says, can you tell us how you organize your community service project events? I noticed that first then, you were saying we instead of I. Do you have a group of people that are working with you? Is
My
that,
family.
okay,
Yeah.
so is that way everybody's supposed to be answering that? Is that we are
Should probably
working?
just say I.
Or should you say I?
Yeah.
When it comes to the Joanne Burns Memorial Foundation, that's different, but your fundraisers should be you.
So maybe you should find a way of differentiating that when you're
Okay.
saying your speech and saying, I formed this committee and we, I did this and then I delegated and we did this.
Okay.
And that way you're
You
not
can
really
say,
crossing.
I did this with the help of.
There you
Yep.
go.
Okay.
Because I got a little confused at that point. I was thinking we. She's talking about we, but she's I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who we was.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I think you said it a couple of different times with
Okay.
a few of them. And then the one about the, your part in the Camp Ryla. You really lit up when you were talking about how you were selected to attend, so I have to tell you that, you really did. But I don't think you completely answered that question.
Okay.
Or you were selected to attend?
Yeah, how you were selected to attend. You talked about the camp itself, and what it was like being there, but I
Okay.
didn't hear, did anybody else, or did I just miss it?
No.
Well, that's one of the.
She didn't answer it.
I think that
Okay.
you wanted to focus on, why you were there and what the benefit of you being there and what the benefit to the community because you were there.
Okay.
I had one more thing, but I don't want to jump in front of Mr. Brumfield if he has any.
I have a couple, I probably haven't been in that many more interviews than you have in phone calls, I'm not that old, but, I'm not trying to contradict Gary, but as someone who spends all my days with people your age, I thought your use of filler words was actually quite low for someone in high school as far as the ums, likes, ands. It's, in my opinion, it's much better to pause for a second like you did and collect your thoughts. I mean, there definitely were some filler words there, but I would put that lower on the list of priorities because that's one of the first things that I noticed is, wow, she knows what she wants to say because she's not stopping saying, well, haha, like, So pause, people will grant you many pauses because they realize, okay, she's just moving on to the next thing in her brain. So I thought that was good. As far as the questions, not to beat on the Ryla question anymore, but I would capitalize more on the fact that it was a Rotary camp, because Rotary is a big name in the community.
Absolutely.
Rotary is synonymous with people who give away money for the community.
You're likely
So-
to have a lot of Rotary.
Yeah,
people
and
there.
they're gonna connect with that instantly. Oh, she did a Rotary project.
Okay.
And so that's gonna really bump you up, I feel like, in people's estimations.
And how were you selected to attend?
Right, and again,
I'm curious.
yeah. Oh, true.
Like, how were you?
Right.
Mrs. Brown gave me an application and just like told me what it was, and I just like applied for it because I thought it was a good idea. And then they sent my application in, and then they had all the students that applied for it interview, and I was the one chosen for the interview, and so I got to go.
Awesome.
You were chosen by interview?
Yeah, I had it like a one-on-one interview with somebody, and
But you also had to send in your resume.
oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember
So if
that.
it was competitive, though, emphasize that you were chosen, selected out of this pool of
Yeah.
other
Okay.
highly qualified
Yeah.
applicants.
And
but
really,
you were
really,
the
I
one.
mean, be chosen to do that, because like my son was ASB president at Zon,
Mhm.
and he was part of Rotary, but I never heard about this camp. He was never,
Mhm.
and he never applied, maybe it's because he was at football camp or something, he never
Mhm.
applied, but, I mean, and he's a good kid.
Yeah.
So, but you chosen. I mean,
Isn't it
really,
for only sophomores too?
Yeah, it's all softball.
Oh.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so out of all the sophomores, you were chosen.
Being chosen as a sophomore is huge too.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a humble young lady, but in this instance, you have to tell people your accomplishments.
Okay.
And that was actually,
That's hard to do.
that was the final point that I wanted to make, and I kind of already said it, but Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals book, it's a terrible book, it encourages nefarious things. But one of the things that it conveys is you have the power with people that they think you have. And what I mean by that is, if you don't appear to them to be nervous, you can be shaking inside and totally terrified, but if you project calm and confidence, no one has a clue about that. And so I thought you comported yourself and carried yourself very strongly. You really lit up on some of those things where you were really excited about telling us about it. But you've done more in your relatively short life than most adults have ever done in this kind of way. You have a gleaming, shining,
Oh my gosh.
background in what you've done. And so, again, if I can just reiterate, capitalize on it and be really confident. And I think the things Gary was suggesting are polishing what you're already doing well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You misunderstand, you're awesome.
Just polish it.
So we
and-
want you to be even more awesome.
I think my last thing was, I agree with Mr. Monk, I was pleasantly surprised that most of your answers, I was satisfied with if I'm gonna put on the harsh critic hat, I was satisfied with most of the answers to your questions. The only question that I felt like you kind of dodged was the bullying. What is the best way to stop the bullying epidemic?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a realistic question, I don't know how likely that is to actually come up, but.
Well, actually, the anti-bullying essay is part of this pageant.
Okay, so if you've won that twice, I would expect a more solid, streamlined answer right out of the
Yeah.
gate.
Yep.
Since
Right,
you've written that.
Pulling from what you wrote in
Right,
your two
and
essays.
you could just
Like,
say
these
what
were
you
the
already
things I
wrote.
suggested.
Oh yeah, well in my papers that I won, that you awarded me for, this is what I said. I'm like, oh, that's right. And
Yeah.
that was the only question that I thought, oh, that could be,
Much stronger.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
agree
saying.
also.
Yeah. I mean, you're an amazing kid.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was cool to learn all this about you.
I had no